Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something huge, a massive announcement that basically redraws the map for humanity's future in space. Elon Musk has pivoted, and his grand vision is no longer aimed at the red planet. Nope, it's now focused on our closest celestial neighbor.
You know, it's kind of wild to think that just 14 months ago, this was the unwavering mission. The message couldn't have been clearer. Mars was the only goal. And the moon? That was just a distraction, a sideshow. The plan was simple. Go straight to Mars, no detours.
But fast forward to today, and that entire roadmap has been ripped up and completely redrawn. What was once seen as a distraction is now the main event. So, what happened? Let's break down this pretty dramatic change of plans.
Okay, let's get right into what exactly has changed and what Musk is saying now. And just to be super clear, this isn't some minor course correction. We're talking about a fundamental resequencing of humanity's expansion into the cosmos.
So, in a recent post on X, Musk just laid out the new game plan. And get this, he's not just talking about landing on the moon anymore. He's talking about building a self-growing city up there, and he thinks it's possible in under a decade. I mean, that is a massive acceleration of our lunar ambitions.
Now, you might be thinking, so what about Mars? Is that whole dream dead? And the answer is no. Absolutely not. Mars isn't off the table, it's just been resequenced. Musk clarified that work on a Mars mission is still going to start in about 5 or 6 years, running in parallel. But for now, the primary focus, that first giant leap, is planted firmly on the moon. Which brings us to the really big question: why? Why suddenly abandon the straight to Mars mantra that has defined SpaceX for years? Well, the answer really boils down to two things: cold, hard logistics and a growing sense that the clock is ticking.
And the logic becomes crystal clear when you just look at the math. A launch to Mars is only really possible when the planets align just right, which happens about every 26 months. But you can launch to the moon pretty much every 10 days. That creates this incredibly fast development loop. You can test things, learn, fail, and improve at a much faster pace. That's something you just can't do if Mars is your first stop.
So beyond just the logistics, this whole decision seems to be driven by a few key things that have really come into focus over the last year. Let's break down what's really behind this big pivot.
First, there's just the reality of Starship's development. It's making incredible progress, for sure. But it's just not Mars ready yet. The next big items on the to-do list, orbital refueling, an uncrewed lunar landing, and then a crewed mission, they all point directly to the moon as the logical next step. It's the perfect proving ground to really test the hardware before you try that much longer, much more dangerous journey to Mars.
The second reason is, well, it's a bit heavier. There's this growing sense of existential urgency. Musk has been more and more vocal about his worry that some event back here on Earth, a war, another pandemic, a natural disaster, could just slam our launch window shut for good. The goal is to set up a self-sustaining backup for humanity as fast as humanly possible. And without a doubt, the moon is the fastest path to get there.
So let's really dig into the grand vision here for what this lunar settlement is actually going to be. Because this isn't about planting a flag and leaving a few footprints. The ambition is way bigger than that. When Musk says a self-growing city, he means a settlement that can eventually sustain and expand itself. The whole idea is to use the materials that are already on the moon to manufacture parts, to build new structures, and to become more and more independent from Earth. This is the absolute key to surviving long-term off-world.
He's repeatedly called this vision Moon Base Alpha, which is a direct reference to a classic sci-fi show from the 70s. And that's not just a clever pop culture nod. It signals that this is a long-held, deeply ambitious dream of a permanent, bustling human city on another world.
And this quote right here, this just brilliantly illustrates the whole mindset. He's basically admitting that other countries or companies might land on the moon first, but he's signaling that the real goal isn't just about winning the race, it's about building the heavy lift capability, the Starship, that you need to deliver millions of tons of equipment to build an entire city. It's the long game.
Okay, now this is where it gets really fascinating, especially if you follow Musk's other companies. How in the world does building a city on the moon connect back to Tesla, a company that makes electric cars and robots here on Earth? You know, the synergy between SpaceX and Tesla has always been a big topic of conversation, but it becomes incredibly real when you think about what you'd actually need to build and run a city on the moon. It turns out these two companies are basically building for the exact same future. Just think about it.
To build a city on the moon, you'll need fleets of Optimus robots for construction. You'll need massive solar arrays and battery systems for power. You'll need self-driving vehicles for transport. And you'll need powerful AI and computing for data centers. Tesla isn't just planning this stuff, they're building all of it right now.
This deep, practical connection is fueling some serious speculation. With a massive SpaceX IPO possibly coming up in mid-2026, the question of a merger with Tesla is more relevant than it's ever been. Yeah, the betting markets are only giving it a 15% chance right now, but this moon-first strategy makes the shared mission between the two companies stronger than ever.
So let's just recap the key takeaways here. The moon is the new priority, with this huge goal of a self-growing city in under a decade. Mars is not off the table, it's just a parallel project for now. The logic is all about speed, iteration, and learning fast. And maybe most importantly, this whole vision relies heavily on Tesla's technology. The robots, the batteries, the AI. The synergy between Musk's companies is just undeniable at this point.
You know, this whole shift really solidifies the idea that SpaceX and Tesla aren't just separate companies with the same CEO. They're an integrated ecosystem, building all the hardware, software, and AI you need for a multiplanetary future. The moon is no longer a distraction, it's become the catalyst for everything. Which leaves us with one last fascinating thought to chew on. What happens when a single ecosystem starts building for real for two different worlds at the same time?